contain content parents may find unsuitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, it's Hunger again. Welcome to another podcast stream. Happy Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. Um, so yeah. Um, let's see here. But yeah, I actually considered playing a different game tonight than Minecraft, but here we are. I didn't play Minecraft last week. I skipped out on Minecraft to uh, play ZA last week, so I decided to go ahead and play Minecraft this week since I am paying for the realm and all. Let's see here. So yeah, here we are, just doing stuff. Do I want to? I think I want to make this the wall. So anyway, let's see. So things be popping. It seems like this Nintendo kind of doesn't know what to do with themselves since the Switch 2 isn't selling that well over here. They apparently some Sam's Club locations are clearancing off Switch 2 hardware, and that's with the bundle, with the Mario bundle, Mario Kart bundled in for less than $400. So if you have one of those Sam's Clubs in your area and you're trying to get a cheap Switch 2, and that sounds like something in your price range, just saying. Then again, because I hear that Japanese sales for the Switch 2 are okay, presumably because they're not trying to treat their customers like an ATM over there. So they're actually pricing the thing reasonably. But hey, who am I to tell a huge corporation how to run their business?
Yeah, they do what they want, honestly.
Yeah. Whatever. Look at this. Look at this crap. Look at this over here. It's a huge ass freaking tunnel that goes nowhere. Does nothing. It's just a huge tunnel for no reason. It's a secret tunnel, going nowhere. Secret tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's see here. What else is going on? Let's see. Oh yeah, I guess the U.S. House of Representatives just passed a voting bill that would require people to have IDs that most Americans don't carry on them in order to register to vote. In fact, most Americans don't even have these IDs at
Oh,
all.
yeah.
So it's going to be kind of just trying to make it more difficult to you know. Anyway, the vote is the bill is supposed to be voted on in the Senate, but if it doesn't pass, President Trump has said that he will issue a executive order, basically ordering essentially the same thing, which I'm sure that will have to go through a judge of some kind if that is the case. But anyway, so yeah, just more stuff. I'm not going to go into opinions on it. I'm just trying to report the facts there. I thought, I think it's kind of interesting. And anyway, we'll just leave it at that. Let's see here. What else is going on? I don't know if anybody saw that trailer that I posted in general a while back for Star Sand Island.
I did. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's some people are describing it as Genshin Impact in Stardew Valley, like having a baby, or like. But anyway, I like a good farm sim as much as the next person, but like if you watch long enough into the trailer, there's actually like monster combat and stuff going on. So so even if you don't like the farm sim aspect, there might still be something there. So I thought that was interesting that they had like monsters to fight and stuff like that. Because like the first part of the trailer shows a lot of like mining or not farming and fishing, and not mining and crafting, but also mining and crafting. Anyway, a lot of very Minecraft-esque gameplay, and then it shows off like the custom building options, some of the stuff you can build in the game, and how easy it is to build it. And then like I feel like I said, they went to the combat like right near the end of the trailer, and I'm like, man, were you trying to hide it from people? Like, for I think that might have been a good thing to lead with a little earlier,
Yeah.
But
that's like something people would be interested in.
Some people, when they don't see swords and guns, they just turn the shit off,
Mm-hmm.
Swords or guns are. I take it back. It's the ball and gun crowd that's usually the problem. If there's not a ball or a gun in the game, they don't want to play it. Yeah. But yeah, just boom. Ain't that interesting? Anyway. Let's see. Oh. Oh. Oof, that was trippy. let's see, it's Siege's birthday today.
Nice.
You know, while it's still Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already slid into his DMs to wish him a happy birthday. He and I hung out on Thursday and ate pizza and watched Black Panther 2, I think.
Nice.
Or Wakanda Forever, however it's subtitled. Anyway, I thought it was, the movie I thought was very well done. I know it's not the normal type of MCU movie. It revolves heavily around the subjects of grief and loss and mourning, which I can understand would be not exactly what a lot of MCU moviegoers were looking for, because I heard that it was pretty badly rated, but for what it was, I thought it was quite nice. You know, are there certain continuity things that don't make sense in it? Sure. Did they do their best with what they had? Yeah, because the actor that was playing the guy died, right? So it's one of those things where, could they have done like a CG thing where they made him show up and talk and stuff? Sure, AI is a thing, CG is a thing. They could have done some artificially generated crap to keep him in there and give him some scenes and whatnot. But it was a movie that was dedicated to his memory, and I feel like that could have been construed and probably was considered to be, by many people who worked on the movie, very disrespectful. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't choose to go the let's just CGI him in anyway route, because that could have been awful. So anyway, yeah, it was a very nice movie. I don't know. To me, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and glaze it and say it's the best movie ever or anything, but I don't think it deserves as much hate as it got. Because it's obvious that they were going for something a little different than what the normal MCU stuff goes for. So, like, don't get me wrong, I do think that certain things are just really bad, but for me, I don't think a movie or a TV show is bad unless when I finish watching it, I'm like, no, I want that time that I spent back right now. Like, like, it's kind of like when I sometimes I'll quit playing a video game and I'll be like, no, I'm not playing that anymore.
Yeah, I sometimes get that feeling
and sometimes I will come back to that game later if there was anything worthwhile in it. But it's one of those things where if it's one of those things where I already feel like I don't have enough time to do anything. So if something's going to eat up my time, it better either be something really productive or something really fun. So if I'm gonna do something with my time, I'd either better be getting entertained, or being made to laugh, just whatever, having some sort of emotional connection to what I'm doing, whatever the thing is, or it better be something that, like, be something productive, like, oh, if I'm doing this, I get money, or if I, it's kind of like, because when I'm playing something on YouTube, I kind of justify playing a game that I'm not like 100% in love with, just because I know it's going to bring in a little bit of revenue for me. Again, I'm not trying to, I'm not planning on YouTube being my retirement fund or anything, but I do make a little bit of money off of it, small amounts, but
Yeah.
And honestly, that amount's been going up recently, which I like.
Yeah. I
So I need to do some VOD content soon for those who are members. I have a bunch of stuff planned. I just need to come up with some time to do it. So I have some more like box opening type videos and build videos planned. So yeah.
I do like that the channel is like very slowly and steadily growing as time goes on.
Yeah. Well,
like a fungus. I mean, heyo.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we're just infecting the internet with our channel and one spore at a time. Happy birthday.
Yep.
Thank
that's
you.
Still true. I mentioned
felt
it on
you
stream earlier.
Talking about me behind my back.
Well, yeah, no, I mentioned that it was your birthday today. A little earlier.
Yeah, I just happened to get home and log into YouTube and see you streaming, and literally the second I pop in and can hear your voice, you're talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, it's like my ears were burning.
All right, well, I also slid into your DMs on Discord to wish you a happy birthday as well. So,
cool.
Since I was,
yeah, I had a day today. The day of my birth. I saw someone at work today wearing a pink Grinch overcoat thingy, hoodie sweater thing, and it was pink. Had the Grinch sitting in a chair, and it says, "I'm back. Valentine's Day is canceled."
Oh no!
And I told the guy, "I love your shirt. In fact, I would pay to see a movie spin-off of The Return of the Grinch where he ruins Valentine's Day for everybody."
Oh my gosh.
And the guy just looks at me. He practically high-fives me. He says, that's a movie I'd pay to see. I said, yeah, you don't understand, because 44 years ago today, I was brought into this world.
Right.
And he almost doubles over laughing. He says, oh man, I feel that.
Yeah.
I said, I'll show you my ID if you don't believe me.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway. But yeah, so that would be interesting, like a whole Grinch mini-series where he's just trying to ruin other holidays since Christmas didn't work out. But then again, his heart grew 3 sizes that day when he tried to ruin Christmas, so I guess he wouldn't want to wreck other holidays unless, unless that was just a temporary problem.
No, well, what I would see it being more likely, though, it being an accidental rom-com where, either he's in love with someone and it's like not working out, or someone's in love with him and he's not interested, but then suddenly she wins his heart.
Yeah.
One of those kind of stories.
Yeah. You know what could work. You know what could work for that idea though. Like an Into the Grinch verse sort of thing, like with like a multiverse of different Grinches from different realities that each hate a different holiday.
Oh my gosh!
And then like the quote unquote good Grinch from the Grinch Who Stole Christmas is like trying to oppose them all.
That could probably work.
That should be funny. Like he gets zapped to a different reality and sees that reality's version of him trying to ruin a holiday, tries to stop it from being ruined, and chaos and hilarity ensues, and then at the end of it, maybe he makes friends with the Grinch living there, and then he gets bounced to a different reality, again, like kind of Quantum Leap style, like, that could be fun. Yeah.
That would be pretty dope, though.
Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time I can spare hanging around here because I got to get
Yeah.
up early for work tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not something I have.
Sundays kind of suck.
Yeah, that's not a problem that I have, but I understand. Yeah, I get to be off on Sunday, so I'm happy about that. But uh, uh, I saw a video, and it was showing that Michael Jackson song, the music video, where he's singing lyrics like, they don't care about us, that type of thing. And
Yeah, that's the song. That's the number one, or that's the name of the song. They don't care about us, and
Yeah.
it's the one that had all the controversy in the late
right.
90s.
Well, like there's people who are pointing at it now and going, "This is the in light of people the connections that people are alleging exist between Jackson and Epstein." They're saying that it's about like the Epstein files or the people in the government that are protecting Epstein and stuff like that. I thought that was interesting. Because there was a video that was showing that song, and the caption was literally, when you realize this song was about the Epstein files, but like I said, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, the files didn't exist all that time ago, first of all, but but basically they're saying
Right.
it's like a reference to the people in the files rather than but anyway. I don't know. Like it's somebody. I saw a meme, and this was I actually laughed out loud when I saw this. It was it was showing like this guy in a chair looking out a window, and it's like flat earthers watching all the other conspiracy theories being proven right except theirs. It's exaggerating, of course, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm just kind of taking it at face value that the song "They Don't Care About Us"
Yeah.
just its face value of its lyrics, that it was rage against the machine in the case, in the sense of just the powers that be and the way people in power are in general.
Yeah, exactly. Like but yeah,
I mean,
it is
I've listened
interesting
to
to
that
think
song
about
so many times.
Yeah. It is interesting to think about, but like I said, I don't, like I said, there's no direct proof. So like I said, it's funny that people will grab onto a little thread and then try to weave threads where there are no threads and show that all these threads are connected, but it's like it's just these tenuous little coincidental connections more than anything, and that's what I hate about kind of conspiracy culture in general, is that these people will make all these wild allegations and then they're not bringing any receipts. They just have like these kind of shaky sort of, oh, well, if this is true and this is true, then this part in the middle that I just came up with by myself must also be true, and it's like, you can sort of see the logic, but it usually doesn't quite work out, like that's kind of, but yeah, like, because that's the thing with the Epstein files, though, is that the Epstein files gives a lot of these older conspiracy theories some receipts that they could work with. That's the interesting thing about it. Like, because like I said, the whole Pizzagate thing, that was something that the mass media in general just kind of was like, that didn't happen. Like, and that was like both sides. And now people are taking a closer look at it, going, well, maybe something did happen there, because you've got the people that were allegedly involved and they're in the files, so yeah,
right.
To me it's interesting more than anything,
As far as Michael Jackson goes, this particular crop of conspiracy theorists fail to realize that there's a whole lot of evidence, at least anecdotal, to show that Michael Jackson was involved with the Masonic order. But that's none of my business, and I don't quite care to dig into it, because that season of me being neck deep in alternative truths or alternative viewpoints, it's just not where I need to be anymore.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, and I totally respect it. And like I said, people when they have one of these theories that they strongly believe in, they will take anything that they can get to try and make it more credible. It's one of those things where any little thing that they can grab onto, that where they can go, aha, see, I was right all along, and like Asmongold has like all these videos that he's posting recently where he's like, see, I was right, and he's just pointing out little things here and there in the Epstein files that that he says corroborate his points, and in some cases they definitely make his point stronger. Like they definitely it's one of those things where anything that's not directly refuting it, right? So, but like I said, a lot of these people are they're acting like they've got a smoking gun when they've got like a water pistol. Like, it sort of looks like a gun.
A little more like or a little more like one of those old cap guns that just fired smoke when they pop.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that where it's maybe not the lightning bolt that they were hoping for, but the thing is, it gives them hope too, because there's still more files that haven't been released. We don't know what all's going to come out.
I'm sure it's going to get worse in so many contexts.
Worse for some people, better for others, I'm sure. But
right. I mean, look, that season took me to some dark places, and it took me a lot to get out of it.
Yeah.
And so, basically, as it is right now, I'm not going to be. You're not going to see me taking any victory laps or dancing around in victory. I
appreciate that.
In any way, shape, or form. Not just out of humility,
right?
But I know I'm tooting my own horn as far as referring to humility, but it's more of, well, there's a quote that I like from A Beautiful Mind. Russell Crowe plays like an incredibly intelligent mathematician who, in real life, this person developed schizophrenia, and he won like a Nobel Peace Prize and all this other stuff. And quote is, like a diet of the mind, I choose not to indulge in certain appetites.
Yeah.
And that was what he said in response when his friend asked him, how is it you can tell truth from fiction when you're hallucinating?
Right.
So that's what he says in response to that.
Yeah.
But I use it to basically describe where I am as far as all that kind of stuff goes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like I said, it is kind of, sometimes you do have to take a step back from it and kind of, just be like, this, because from various standpoints, a lot of that stuff can be very toxic, especially, the stuff that tries to downplay things that happen to real people, and say that they were somehow, faked or things like that. That has very real that there are very real people that hurts.
Well, I'm referring to the things that feed my indiscriminate misanthropy.
Yeah, no, I get that. You have certain tendencies when it comes to that, so I understand not wanting to push those farther because they can spawn some very negative emotions. It can spawn negative emotions. It's something where when you have strong views about the world kind of being terrible, it can really take you to some dark places thought-wise.
If you stare into the abyss, sometimes the abyss will stare back at you. Yeah. You just got to be careful not to blink.
Yeah. So yeah.
So like I said, I'm on a diet of the mind, and I'm trying to stick to it.
It's understandable. I'm just trying to talk about things that are kind of relevant. Did you hear what we were talking about earlier with the Switches going on clearance?
Yeah, that's what I want on.
Switch going on clearance.
So there are pictures circulating online of Switch 2s at Sam's Club this is the Mario Kart bundle that normally retails at $500, and Sam's Clubs are clearancing them off for less than $400. Like it's like 370 something.
Yep.
That's odd.
You know, and it's multiple locations. It's not just like a one-off somewhere. It's it's basically certain retailers, because Sam's Club normally tries to sell things at below market cap anyway, but this is low even for them, so it's caught a lot of attention, and a lot of people are pointing at it as proof that the Switch 2 is just not selling that well here in the States, and that maybe it was overproduced for the demand that currently exists for it, and some of these stores are literally trying to get rid of it. And this could be problematic going forward for Nintendo, because even if the Switch 2 does offload a killer app later on that makes it very desirable, there may be stores that refuse to carry it, because they've already had to clearance them off. So and some of those stores being Sam's Clubs and Walmarts could be pretty bad for them. So
the Switch 2's got a lot of challenges right now, most of which coming from Nintendo's boneheaded anti-consumer mindset lately. I heard from our mutual friend that they have a way of figuring out if you've done any kinds of repairs on like the HDMI or USB ports on it, and it'll brick your system instantly. I'm like, aren't there right to repair laws in the U.S. for crying out loud?
There kind of are, and there's also the first sale doctrine, which they're violating every time that they brick one of these systems. So it's one of those things where
when they make you sign a binding arbitrary clause, even when you freaking redeem a Nintendo eShop gift card.
Yeah, well, and
I accidentally clicked onto the end user license agreement when I was redeeming my gift card from a dear friend, and I'm like, what the heck? There's a binding arbitrary arbitration
basically you have to agree not to sue them.
Yeah,
you have to agree not to sue them to do anything on Nintendo eShop, basically. So yeah, it's one of those things where
you can't sign away your constitutional rights.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's one of those things where their lawyers probably think they're really slick, but all it would really take is for, let's say, an impacted group like GameStop that bought a bunch of Switch 2s secondhand without ever agreeing to the terms and conditions. They are now the owners of those Switch 2 systems, and they have the right to see those systems working normally. If they decided to sue and say, hey, like, it wouldn't have to be GameStop, but some similar entity that had a large amount of bricked Switch 2s in their possession. They could basically say, hey, I never agreed to this arbitration bullshit. I'm going to just sue the shit out of you for bricking all these consoles because you are stopping me from making money. So if somebody wanted to, they could legitimately go after like bricked Switch 2s on the market, like offer to buy them super cheap and get a whole bunch of them in their collection, and then sue Nintendo to get them unbricked. And basically get an injunction against Nintendo preventing them from ever bricking a Switch 2 ever again. They could, because according to the first sale doctrine, they can't mess with your product. Now, Nintendo could argue that the things were bricked before they bought them, but it's one of those things where, it's something where they could just argue right back that Nintendo is preventing them from repairing it. The whole right to repair issue that you mentioned earlier, I believe that most judges with a working, functional brain would be able to rule against Nintendo in that circumstance. I don't think it's that out of the Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not offering anybody legal advice. I'm not offering anybody any business advice. But to me, it sounds like a pretty slam dunk sort of a case. If and if somebody wanted to do that, they could maybe make a lot of money. It's just it's speculation on my part. Let's put it that way.
Pardon me.
So.
The other Nintendo related news, the monkey's paw must have curled when I was wishing for a Pokemon pinball revival.
Hey.
Did you hear this news from Stern?
No.
They got the license from Nintendo for Pokemon pinball machines.
Oh, nice.
It only cost about $13,000.
Oh, like to make like actual Pokemon pinball machines, yeah.
Yeah, they released a trailer for it.
Okay, cool.
It's more or less anime inspired.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm sure I can dig a couple of $1,000s out of my recliner cushions.
Yeah,
laying around here somewhere.
So yeah, we just need to, maybe sometime we can get one at the store and just, Oh, hey Benny, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Good luck talking the boss into spending that money.
Well, the thing is, even if she doesn't
I'm pretty sure there's like a...
What I was going to say, even if she doesn't want to spend $13,000 buying the machine, she could probably get with a company that would basically, put the machine in her store for a percentage of the profits, that type of thing. Where she would just have to front the electricity. Because there are numerous companies that do that. That just like that crane game that we have. That's basically what's going on there. So, like, she didn't buy the crane game. She just has somebody who runs it and fills it up themselves, and then she basically just offers it the real estate and the electricity.
Oh, interesting.
So.
Yeah, and of course, I'm pretty sure there's like going to be three variants of it, because usually, like, there's a time when I was, swimming in my inheritance money, and I very briefly considered buying the Aerosmith machine that they had, and I looked at the price, and there's like 3 tiers, and one was like the Ultra Deluxe, the Deluxe, and then the Vanilla.
Yeah. So,
and they, of course, had different price points.
Right. So, yeah. Because right now, the biggest problem facing co-op, or not co-op, coin-op devices is the licensing fees. They, at least here in our state, there are pretty steep yearly licensing fees to run a coin-operated machine that that takes coins for play in public.
Oh, you're talking about like the taxes, the tariffs, or whatever. Okay, fine, Sammy.
It's a fee. It's a yearly fee, and yes, it is basically a tax on the machine itself that you have to pay in order to be able to have it in your in order to be able to operate it. So that's like it applies to like every vending machine, every video game arcade cabinet, every Now, I believe that because I know that
there is a pretty good loophole.
Yeah, because I know that you can have a machine that basically is left on free play, and that doesn't cost anything. You can have that, no problem. I don't know about the tokens. I don't know if the tokens count as enough of a loophole to where, because like typically you have like a sticker or something on the machine that says, yeah, this is licensed to do this.
I do believe if it accepts tokens, it still would have to count as coin op, and thus be subject to the fees. Right. So that's why the arcade in the mall we have in town is a free to play, But they do have a few machines that still accept dollar bills or coins, and thus they have to pay the tax, tariff, whatever on it.
Right.
But every other machine is set to free play or is
Yeah.
loaded up with a bunch of free credits because they didn't have a free play mode, so to speak.
All right. Well, because you could basically just unlock the machine, and there's a little toggle switch that the quarters hit when they go in, and you just flick that a bunch of times to get credits on
Like
it.
that 100 times, yeah.
So
Exactly.
and a lot of arcades
Some of the
do that.
machines are primitive enough that they had to do it that way, yeah.
Yeah. Because I've seen those. I've seen people do that, where they just, the day starts, they add, however many credits to the game, and then they just move on, so.
Yep.
But yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Let's see. What else is happening recently? Let's see. Let's see. Pokemon Day still looms on the horizon. It's the 30th anniversary this year.
Mhm.
They sort of hyped it up with a Super Bowl ad that didn't really have anything else in it, as far as like news or anything. They're just like, oh, here's a Super Bowl
Didn't
ad
really have
advertising
anything
that
else.
it's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon this year. They bought a minute's worth of time, which is like $14 million, to air this ad, and I'm not sure that was money well spent. They kind of highlighted the most recent games, but they showed off a bunch of other stuff too. Now I had a mutual acquaintance of ours, Siege, tell me that they were doing Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Switch too, and that they were going to have Pokemon Home support. Have you heard
Weird.
anything about that?
I did not see anything
I have
related to it.
not.
Okay, so that might be unsubstantiated and unfounded. Then, like I said, it's that one guy that sometimes does not have his ducks in a row when it comes to information. That's why I was asking you about it.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that from this person. If it's the same person we both know, who's known for speaking from the opposing orifice a lot.
Yeah, but yeah. So, like I said, that I was just wanting to know if you had heard anything about it, or if that was just something that he came up with, or if he misheard or misremembered that from somewhere. Because not gonna lie, that would be something
he does
really
that a
cool
lot.
if they did port Fire Red, Leaf Green. Those are very, very popular games, and giving them Pokemon Home support so that you could move Mons from them to more modern games or Pokemon Champions, that would be cool too. So, but yeah, so we'll just mark that as unfounded speculation for now, because basically what he was saying was that in order to make up for shortfalls in Switch 2 sales, they were going to do that and make it a Switch 2 exclusive, so that people would have to buy the Switch 2 to get it. And it's like, okay, well, I could maybe see them trying to do something like that. But yeah, the thing is,
It would.
what I've
There
been
would have to
seeing.
be just a number. There'd have to be
Yeah.
a number of things that would have to happen in
Yeah.
order to turn the Switch 2's fortunes around.
Yeah.
One, Furukawa would have to get fired out of the
Uh,
canon into the face of Mario on Pilot Wing 64's
yeah.
Mount Rushmore. Two, they would have to undo their um, anti-consumer crap. I mean, every single ounce of it.
Yeah.
And three, of course, they'd have to have a slew of killer apps come out month after month after month for the duration of this year.
Well, here.
And considering we have yet
Yeah.
to have a real Nintendo first-party direct announcements of any kind this year, it doesn't seem like any of that is happening.
Right. So here's the thing. So right now, uh, the opposite is kind of happening, where instead of the Switch 2 getting a bunch of great exclusives, a lot of people who are porting games to Switch 2 are porting them to the regular Switch as well. So, for example, Digimon Story Time Stranger, which has been very well received everywhere it's been released, is going to be making its way to both Switch consoles in July. So I'm super hyped about that because I'll finally get a chance to play it. I will probably buy that pretty quick and see if I can play it on release day. Because and it's kind of the same thing where some companies are doing ports for games on the PS4 and the PS5 if the PS4 can handle it. It's just like they're basically making sure to hit the consoles that have more people playing them or that more people own. But yeah,
Right, because they still got that huge install base.
there's still a huge customer install base for Switch, and not all of those have like completely upgraded to Switch 2 and gotten rid of their Switch. In fact, most of them haven't. So yeah, it looks like there's even a Nintendo Direct's partner thing. It says it hit YouTube a week ago, but anyway. So yeah, so we're
that was the partner direct is basically all the
Yeah.
third parties that are
but
that have
but
stuff
apparently
coming
that
up.
was in there is Digimon Story Time Stranger being on Switch. So I've started noticing that there's
Yep.
certain games that I was like, oh man, that might get me to upgrade to a new console, and then I'm like, oh, never mind, it's on the Switch, or it's going to be on the Switch soon, So I'm kind of glad
Right.
that these companies are
Just temper your expectations. Just temper your expectations on the performance this late in the Switch One's life cycle.
Oh no, I like, for example, like Persona 5 Tactica, for example. Like there are games that like I could clearly tell that yes, this is a port and it has way higher loading times on the Switch. Like there's just certain games where it's like, okay, yeah, this is taking forever to load, and it's because I'm playing it on a Nintendo Switch and not a PC or a Xbox or or a PS4 or a PS5. So I'm okay with this, because I just want to play them, and it's one of those things where if the Switch 2 ever does, kind of pull their head out and become something that that I know that I can no longer live without, then I can play a lot of these games in an enhanced mode on the Nintendo Switch 2. So for me, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, just be prepared to pony up for the massively more expensive SD card.
Yeah. Well,
if and when that happens.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, the AI bubble is already starting to burst before we even, because right now a lot of this RAM is so expensive because of AI, because AI companies are just scooping up so much of it. But we're starting to see now, companies shying away from it And it's funny, OpenAI, right? They're like the people behind ChatGPT, which is one of the more famous LLMs. So they actually caught a couple of strays online recently because they retired an older version of the ChatGPT system, right? So there's this thread on Reddit, right? And this they literally did this a couple days before Valentine's Day, which makes it even funnier. So there's this thread on Reddit where it's people talking about their AI boyfriends, right? And apparently, I guess it's OpenAI version or ChatGPT version 4.0 or something like that was retired or sunset. And the newer versions like 5.3 and whatnot are a lot less sycophantic than this version. So, because like this older version of ChatGPT / OpenAI software was one of those. It was one of the ones that was kind of like killing people with like how agreeable it was, like how it would just kind of go along with whatever you said, you know. Like you could be like, hey, I'm trying to start a business where I fart in jars and get people to smell it. Do you think that's a good idea? And to be like, oh hell yeah, you know, you know, like so, so basically, newer versions aren't as agreeable as this one, but like I said, that's kind of I guess what these people liked about it when it came to their AI chat bot boyfriends. So anyway, so
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, but like I said, it's funny that they sunset it like right before Valentine's Day, just to remind all these people that they're alone. just brutal, you know.
Wasn't there a thing? Hang on. Wasn't there like one of the like Here's a video I saw and someone was talking about one of the like Brawlhalla things where one of the like lines was like alone with a sad face.
Oh no.
I don't know. I just heard that somewhere. Somebody was talking about it in a different video.
Huh. But yeah, so so that's a thing. But yeah, but like I said, it's one of those things where there's been a lot of buzz recently about certain, because like OpenAI, the ChatGPT people, they have publicly stated that they are running out of money, and they said that if nothing changes soon, they will end up bankrupt by 2027. So they don't have. So it's one of those things where they don't have a lot of time left to get their crap together. So because the thing is,
it's not often that I think of memes to express eloquently enough how I feel. But there's the one with what's his name, Glover, aka Childish Gambino, and he's just saying with the wicked eyes, with the wicked wide eyes, he's just saying, "Good."
Yeah.
That's the meme I have in mind.
Yeah, and that's
they're going bankrupt.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, well, and like I said, it's because it's one of those things where the more of these AI companies go bankrupt, the more we're going to see, like because there are certain software, there are certain hardware companies that have literally shifted their business model to only catering to these AI companies. So if none of these hardware companies,
NVIDIA has cut their graphics card production down by 3/4. The price of SSDs for just about anything has like quadrupled.
Right.
There's an 8 terabyte drive I was going to get for my PS5. I was going to maybe get it for myself as a birthday gift, and it was like trickling down to like the sub $500 range, and now like within I watched it go up $100 a day for like a
Yeah.
week and a half, and now it's like $1,100, and that's the
Right.
cheapest place I can find it on Amazon.
Yeah. So
It's a steal compared to what it's going for elsewhere.
right. But what I'm saying is that as these AI companies go belly up, we're going to start seeing that problem sort of starting to reverse itself, because right now it's the AI companies that are driving demand for memory because they need so much of it. They don't care what form it comes in, so they're just buying up everything. And so, and like I said, there are certain chip manufacturers that are literally only manufacturing this stuff for AI because it's more profitable, because they can just send it all to the same place, and logistically it's better than having to send it to warehouses all over the country and stuff like that. So but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, but you guys are kind of putting all your eggs in that basket, and that basket's not looking so hot. Like it's looking like it might be looking like that basket might be on a tall shelf during an earthquake soon, like so yeah, I don't know if some of these. So we could see this damage some chip manufacturing companies as well. Also, bit of free business advice. If anybody out there has like a ton of money and is looking for something to do with it that's definitely going to make them more money, start making memory chips. Just saying. That is like starting up a factory that does nothing but making memory chips. As we were just mentioning it, that's essentially printing money in the current economy. So you could do far worse than that as a business model right now. So I don't know, maybe if I were the CEO of Funko Pop, maybe I would tell them to start diversifying into chip manufacturing. It's like, listen, instead of making more of these big-headed toys, let's start making some fucking microchips. Could you imagine Funko Pop SD cards? Oh man.
Not any stranger than Mario and Animal Crossing branded SD cards.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Funko, you're welcome.
I can see Funko. I could definitely see Funko Freddy on a micro SD card.
Exactly. You're welcome, Funko. I just saved your company. Anyway. But no, they're not gonna watch this. Who am I kidding? But
imagine if they were actually watching.
Imagine if somebody clips this and sends it to them, and it does save their company.
Oh my god!
Be like, wait a minute,
Where's
that's a great
cut?
idea.
Yeah. In fact, where's my cut?
Right. But yeah, no, it's just
but it's kind of a similar. It's a kind of a similar situation with GameStop and trying to sue Nintendo. It's like, okay, I don't. I hardly think that Funko or GameStop have enough money to sue, much less survive the next fiscal year of their business operations.
Yeah.
As far or for Funko to change automatically to making SD cards.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where
I think they barely have enough to keep the lights on for the rest of the year.
Here's the thing: if they had decided before they hired Cynthia Williams, if they had decided to use the $61 million that she was going to lose them to start up a chip manufacturing plant, this is a hindsight is 2020 sort of a situation. But if they had realized this sooner. They could have just, instead of letting Cynthia Williams cost them $61 million, they could just spent that on a chip manufacturing plant and diversified their portfolio.
Right.
But yeah, just saying, I feel like, if you are a huge, massive company and you are having trouble making ends meet, You could do worse than starting to make microchips, especially memory chips. They're kind of in demand right now. So looking at you, Hasbro, looking at you. Just take all that ill-gotten money you made from Magic the Gathering and start making some SD cards instead of trading cards.
Oh, speaking of cards, I've been meaning to tell you about this for weeks.
Okay.
We have a regular who he comes on a regular basis,
Uh-huh.
and his credit card or debit card looks like the Dark Magician card
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I've seen a few people that have like the Yu-Gi-Oh card back on their credit card and stuff like that. Somebody had a credit card that looked like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, which is a Yu-Gi-Oh staple. So,
Ah.
so yeah, I've also seen the Blue Eyes White Dragon, I think, or Ultimate Dragon, one of the two, as a credit card.
Cool.
But yeah,
Alrighty
no,
then.
but yeah,
Just
I do see that
every time I
occasionally.
see it, I think of you.
Yeah,
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 it's like,
no, I understand that, but
speaking of things I saw and thought of you, I sent you an excellent CLMC music video. This guy, I don't know what his actual name is, but the channel is called CLMC Music, and he mashes up various properties.
okay,
And there's two that he finally mashed together that are near and dear to your heart,
okay,
and not far from mine either.
yeah. All right.
You might share it with your listeners or
Yeah.
viewers
Well,
on your Discord.
somebody shared a video in the Discord and said that he'd like to see my reaction to it, and I was like, I don't want to react to it live because that could end up in a copyright claim against my live stream, and then I'm basically paying this person
are you
revenue
talking?
for 2 hours of instead of just the 2 minutes that I watched the clip for. Um, so I was like,
right.
maybe I'll just record a reaction video to it, and if it's worth, if it, and if it, and if,
Are you
and if,
talking about? Are you
that,
talking about who I think you are?
that weird give a mouse a cookie animation that Just Hungry
Yeah, I
posted?
know the one
Yeah.
the one Just Hungry sent. Yeah.
Anyway,
You
I haven't seen it or anything, so don't spoil
really
it for
really
anything.
weird.
It's just
I have
weird.
not either, and I couldn't even care less, to be honest.
Okay, all right, but anyway,
It's
so
just
yeah.
something that's not worth my time.
But yeah, like I said, I was thinking about doing like a reaction video for it. So if
I mean, is it worth it?
well, like that's the thing is if I shoot a reaction video for it and I don't think it's any good, then I won't upload it. But
I mean,
because it's just
like
a little
you said,
bitty clip, But speaking of which, I have a funny story from work today, right?
Hey.
uh-huh.
So we had I was up at the register, and this guy came in with a young boy, right, little kid, and they were looking for Pokemon cards, and so what we had at the time was Surging Sparks. We're out now, but we had Surging Sparks available, right? And so she's showing these Surging Sparks packs to this kid, and he said he's got $15 to spend, which is just enough to buy 3 packs. So she's showing him the 3 packs and asking him if that's what he wants, and he's kind of hemming and hawing, and so she asks if he wants the newest pack instead, because she keeps a few of the most recent couple sets on hold for to use as tournament prizes for people who play the tournaments at the store. So so he basically says yeah, and she goes in to get the to get them, and as she's doing that, he's like, "Oh, do you have one of those cool tins?" Like, and she's like, "No," like, and then he's like, basically he just kept asking for like more, like he's like, "Oh, can I get 4 of them instead?" And his dad's like, "No," like, so, but it was like, that whole if you give a mouse a cookie situation where it's like, you know, just instantly trying to get more than what you originally offered, you know. So
Mhm.
I thought that was kind of funny, you know,
That sounds incredibly dumb.
because she was trying to be nice and you know and do something special, and instead the kid's just like, oh, that's it, can I have more, you know, like it's just that type of thing, you know. But
People
yeah,
suck,
God.
yeah,
and so can little people.
yeah. Well, and little kids don't have like a filter where they don't realize necessarily that they're being rude as shit when they say that type of shit. But yeah,
Right.
they don't have the social experience and to understand that they're being little dicks or whatever. But but yeah, I thought it was kind of funny, which is why I mentioned it.
Yeah. Too many. Yeah. Too many people nowadays have gone their entire lives without knowing the risks of being smacked for how they act or what they say.
That's very true, honestly. But like all these freaking TikTok streamers and shit.
Oh yeah. I saw a clip of this guy, and he's being recorded by someone while he's doing it because he's, being a total dipstick influencer, and he like takes the hat off of a dude who's like pumping iron at a at a gym,
uh-huh.
and then the guy like takes his hat right back and smacks the dude. He's like, "Dude, it's just a prank." I'm like, yeah, well, it's just my hat, and that was
Right.
just a slap.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those things where people who like these IRL prank streamers and whatnot, where they stream themselves like pulling quote unquote pranks on people. It's like, you know, that's a fine and fascinating way to get yourself killed. It really is. Like, just
Yeah, they're
like,
putting their own lives in their own hands.
and that's the, you know, because they're really assuming a lot. They are assuming a lot about the people that they interact with being, you know, reasonable, rational human beings, you know, and that's a really huge mistake to make. Don't ever assume that the person you are speaking to or attempting to interact with is reasonable or rational. Rational. You should always assume that there is at least a chance that anybody you talk to could be crazy. So,
Oh yeah, the
like,
number of insane people on the loose seem to have quintupled since the old pandemic.
right. Well, it's not only that, like, because you have, like, you know, because a lot of these mental institutions and places that were keeping a lot of these people away from the rest of society ended up closing because of ethical concerns and whatnot. So now you just have these people just roaming the streets that used to be, you know, locked up somewhere, or would have been locked up somewhere if these places still existed, you know. uh, you know, and some of them would have been given full frontal lobotomies, and you know, and don't get me wrong, I think that is a very cruel thing to do to somebody, but you know, at the same time, it's not always completely undeserved. You know, but no, like back when the mental institutions were a thing and that they were allowed to do all kinds of fucked up shit to people, women were actually the people that got lobotomized the most, and I think that's very telling. Um, you know, because lobotomizing somebody makes them much more docile and easier to manage, uh, and you can kind of see why people would want to do that to women. So it's kind of sick and disgusting when you think about it. But you know, but a lot of the way
There's
that mental health
all
institutions treated
kinds of
people were so very sick and disgusting. So
right, and there would be multiple reasons why people would get thrown into those
oh yeah,
places,
of course.
being just for visual defects,
Hmm.
so to speak,
Yeah,
unpopular opinions, especially of the political or even
yeah,
religious variety.
like
and it would just be a
some yeah,
catch-all.
yeah.
Sanitariums would be catch-all for all kinds of undesirables,
Well, yeah, they
and that's
became
a big part of
catch-alls
the
for.
reason.
That's part of the reason why they're not allowed to operate anymore. A lot of them, because like you said, people were getting thrown in there for just whatever. Family members would commit them because, imagine you get committed to an asylum because of a hardware issue rather than a software issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have like a physical defect or whatever, and your family just doesn't want to take care of you, so they drop you off at one of these places. Like.
Hmm.
So, like I said, I think that they did become too much of a catch-all, and that's one of the reasons why they're, so they became such frightening places, uh, because almost anybody could end up there against their will, and there was no due process like there is with with prisons, So,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, it's
Trust
it's
me,
it,
I know. I worked in the field at one point, and I learned so much of the dark history that it was one of the major things that almost turned me into an absolute mis- misanthrope.
yeah, but
Misanthrope.
yeah, so. But yeah, like it's one of those things where, um, it does have a dark history. But the thing is, there are people uh, like that need that sort of thing. That a place where they can be monitored and taken care of. Uh, and like I said, maybe there does need to be some sort of a uh, due process for this sort of thing where they have to undergo certain evaluations and stuff in order to get this sort of care. But once they get into the system,
Here is for the
you
most
know,
part, being committed
uh-huh,
is a two-way street where they
yeah,
both the physician and the patient agrees to it, or it has to be, if it's against someone's will,
mhm,
it's extremely rare, and it's in
mhm.
the most absolute extreme of conditions
Yeah. Well, like, because there are
or
people out
situation.
there
You know
that,
what I mean?
yeah, there are people out there that aren't necessarily harmful, but they are nuisances because of their various mental issues. You know, and like I said, some of those people can become a danger or a threat to various members of society, depending on how long they're allowed to kind of run free. Uh, for example, um, there's a guy who posted a video about how Pokimane is his girlfriend. You know, Pokimane does not know this guy. She has nothing to do with this guy, but he has this parasocial online relationship with her where he thinks that she is his, and so he's telling other guys to stay away from his girlfriend. And this is the type of person that, if given the opportunity, might one day try to harm this person. Like, or they might try to harm Pokemon.
Right.
They might try to harm her significant other. Because they're unhinged and they think that she's in a relationship with them. And it's also one of the reasons why I hate these AI chatbots that let you use a picture of somebody. Because there's a lot of these AI chatbots where you can upload a picture of somebody or or maybe a celebrity or something like that, and that you can make an AI chatbot of them and have that AI chatbot talk to you. So, and like I said, that can feed into those types of delusions so easily, and
Yeah, that's dangerous.
it is
Utterly
incredibly
terrifying.
dangerous, and I feel like nothing's going to be done about it until somebody actually gets hurt, and then it's going to be too late, and we're going to have lost somebody very special. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll have irrevocably lost somebody very special to the world, and I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know how many are going to have to die before people get it through their heads that this isn't a good thing, and we need to regulate this type of thing. Uh,
Right,
because
and it absolutely won't. It, it absolutely won't stop until people start dying from it, just
yeah,
like with swatting.
yeah, It's
Now, of course, because it's happened so many times that people have died or been nearly killed, that they have protocols now in just about every county
yeah, for
for
anti-swatting
to
measures.
prevent
And,
someone getting killed. Yes, they have protocols now.
yeah, which is good.
So basically,
But
uh,
but it's
yeah.
sad that it took
But
this long to
the funny
establish
thing
that
is,
sort of thing. You know.
Right. Richard Reviewtech USA actually made the prediction.
Uh-huh.
He said it on one of his streams. I know he's not the greatest streamer or YouTuber anymore, but he made the prediction and it came true. He said, this isn't going to stop until somebody dies.
Right.
And it's just stupid. People dying because you tick them off in a video game? Really?
Yeah.
You call the authorities. You find out where they live, and you call the authorities and claim and pretend to be under gunpoint at that person's house,
Right.
and then you just sit back and watch the carnage unfold from a safe distance.
Right.
What a cowardly, sickening, evil thing to do.
Right. Well, there's such a thing as suicide by cop when somebody does something violent on purpose in the hopes that they'll be surrounded and killed by cops at gunpoint. But this is like the offensive version of that. It's murder by cop. And
Homicide by proxy.
it's
Homicide
essentially
by proxy.
hiring a hitman without having to pony up any money. So I'm glad that police departments are no longer taking every such call seriously and are implementing measures to try and suss out these sorts of callers and figure out if they're filing a false report, because a lot of the time now the attempted swatters are getting arrested for attempting to swat somebody, and that's really nice.
Yeah, they're starting to face attempted murder charges.
Well, and they need to. Like, it's one of those things where these types of things, these people who just callously make accusations against people and try to ruin their lives, they won't stop unless you make them. You have to go the extra mile to stop them, or they just won't stop. That's not hyperbolic or anything. That's just facts. Like, if you don't offer up some sort of meaningful consequences for this sorts of behavior, there is no reason for them to stop doing it. And that goes for women that fake Me Too people. That goes for anybody who makes false accusations against somebody, like that woman who called the police and told them that a man kicked her door in, and then pointed them towards the frickin' paraplegic living across the street. Like, yeah, that's the guy, officer. The guy in the wheelchair that can't walk. Yeah, he's the guy who kicked my door in and chased me down the street and tried to strangle me. She literally fucking said that, and the officer took them to jail. Like, they thought he was faking the wheelchair. Like, and the thing is, if they had looked up this woman's history, she had priors for filing false police reports. Yeah.
That's like
it's like
that's
duh.
like the fucking bit where that's like a fucking you like kicking butts, do you? We'll show you, old man. That type of shit.
Just
I don't know.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where this poor guy is in a wheelchair, and the police treated him like a fucking criminal. And now it's going to become a legal case where he's going to sue the department. And this woman, in order to absolve herself legally, she called the police back. I can't remember how long after they had arrested and detained the guy, but she called them back and said, "Oh, I made a mistake. Please let him go." And the thing is, she knew the guy's name. She knew exactly who he was. He had no idea who she was. So it's like, how long has this bitch been spying on him? Like, because she identified the guy by name and description. So it's like, this bitch was spying on somebody. But yeah, just absolutely disgusting crap. I hate that we have to deal with this type of human behavior. Yeah.
Almost sounds like the guy got blackmailed or some shit.
I don't know what that whole thing was. I don't know if she was just fucking drunk or
That
high
was-
or what made her think that that guy had tried to come after her. You know, like, because you know, normally when you are a police officer and somebody calls you and they're claiming violence, you should be looking for the signs of that violence, right? If she, she said the guy was strangling her, shouldn't you be checking her neck? You know, like, shouldn't you be looking for marks? You know,
I know, right?
shouldn't you be trying to figure out why she's not dead?
Pat her
Yep.
the fuck
You know,
on,
like there's so much investigation that should be going on that just does not seem to be, and that's a problem.
Well,
For many reasons.
the money they end up having to pay for that lawsuit against the police, it
Yeah.
should come out of the pension fund for the police, not the department, because the department will just get its money from the taxes,
Yeah, well, and the thing is,
and there won't be any real repercussions for the officers.
exactly. I think the officers should have their wages garnished for some of them. The guys, because there were officers involved in that whole mess that were like, hey, I think this guy might actually be paralyzed. Maybe we should check on that. And then the chief, without even looking at the guy, is like, nah, he's lying. So the guy in charge, yeah, absolutely was negligent, but like some of these guys actually tried suggesting that they actually do some fucking due diligence, but yeah.
Weird.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, back to a more interesting story. It turns out I was right. As per usual with Stern pinball machines,
Yeah.
there's a $7,000 model, a $9,800 model, and of course the $13,000 model.
Okay, so the 13,000 is the top end one. Okay. So
Yeah, the limited edition.
Yeah, so if
There's
somebody
there's always a Pro, which
yeah.
is your base model, premium, and then limited edition.
So if there was somebody who was, say, running a small store and wanted to just get a Pokemon pinball machine and didn't care if it was the fanciest one, they could go for the less than $8,000 version and try to get that one, So just hypothetically.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's $69.99, $97.99, and $12.999,
Yeah.
respectively.
Well, that sounds awesome.
Okay, I think that yawn signals me that I'm gonna have to call it a night because I just realized I left my phone in the car, so I got to go downstairs
Oh, no.
and go grab it.
Yeah, that's not good. Who knows
Yep.
how many other cars that your car might call?
Yeah. Well, it hasn't complained to me in all this time. But anyway.
I mean, it is Valentine's Day. Maybe
Good night, everybody.
Lonely. Anyway.
Oh, good grief.
All right, you have a great one. Thanks for stopping by.
You too. Take it easy, Solus. Bye-bye.
All right. Oh, man. But yeah. Oh, boy.
Oh, I swear to God, I heard like a branch fall outside or some shit.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I heard like a loud crash outside.
You heard a loud crash. Was it the Bandicoot?
If Crash Bandicoot came to my door and knocked on my door, I probably would have flipped.
Yeah. Do a flip. Anyway.
Mhm.
Oh man. I think I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff here. Mm. Oh man. Here we go. Uh, ah. Okay. All right. Oh man. Okay. Man. Okay. All right. Let's see here. But yeah, there was a point earlier today where I was thinking about what to play on stream, and I was like, oh man, I still need to do some grinding on Final Fantasy Tactics. Maybe I should do that. And, yeah. Ended up deciding
Between
not
that
to do
and
that.
VA or whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it.
Well, like it's one of those things where with Pokemon Legends ZA, I just feel like there's not much else to do on that game. Like, like I hate to say it, but right now the DLC feels like a lot of a letdown. It doesn't really give you a lot more to do.
Yeah, I get that.
And,
It's kind of a slog compared to the main game.
Like, and I
Like
get what
I
they were
said.
going for, but like the gains that I'm getting off of the berries are not enough to offset how stupidly difficult some of this new content is with the whole I could be level 300 or 200 plus or whatever, or whatever the over almost level 200, like they have these Pokemon that are way over level 100, and my guys, like, because I downloaded this DLC before I had like a team of max level mons that were fully EV trained or anything, you know. So when I have a team of level 100 mons that have perfect bottle capped IVs and trained EVs where they're supposed to be and all that stuff, maybe I'll have an easier time dealing with some of this content. But until then, fuck, you know.
Yeah. Even
Like,
then, it is a legend game. It's going to be hard no matter what.
well, here's the thing. Like, I got upset at Pokemon Legends Arceus quite a bit, and that was one of the reasons I was on the fence as to whether I was even going to bother with ZA, because I feel like ZA did a lot of the stuff. I feel like Pokemon Legends Arceus did a lot of stuff that I just really hated, and I was like, because with Pokemon, right? Sometimes you finish a Pokemon game and you go, you know what, that was a really nice gameplay experience. I enjoyed that a whole lot. And you enjoyed it so much that sometimes you don't mind going back and starting over every once in a while, like a certain somebody I know recently did with Pokemon Clover.
Yeah, that's me.
It's such a nice gameplay experience. Even with how challenging it is, they were challenging without just being unfair and shitty, you know.
Yeah, the thing with Clover version 1.3.3, they have some like difficulty spikes that were different from the original, like
yeah.
1.0.
Yeah.
Like there were some mons on the Shadow Council teams I don't remember from the first
Yeah,
one.
because here's the thing. When
Hi, Caps.
oh hey, Caps is here. Right as we start talking about Clover too, that's funny.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I kind of credit myself with some of this shit. Like when they did Pokemon Clover, when Clover was in beta, right? They were like, yeah, we designed this to be impossible to Nuzlocke. Don't even try. And then
Yeah.
I started doing a Nuzlocke, and a lot of other people had tried doing Nuzlocks and had failed before me, and I think they literally watched me beat that Nuzlocke, and they watched Sharpedo, another YouTuber who started his Nuzlocke after mine but finished his before mine because of his schedule being a little more aggressive. They watched the two of us both beat our Nuzlocke runs, and they basically said, "How can we make sure this never happens again?" And in my case, it was like they literally all the stuff that like them nerfing Sheer Cold and all the Oko moves and making it to where you couldn't level up as fast. That was like a direct trying to nerf the methods that I used in my Nuzlocke, because I won't lie, I overleveled the shit out of some of my mons in that Nuzlocke playthrough.
But here's the thing with me though.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Pokemon ROM hack challenges that the kind of like challenge that Clover and Pisces has is the kind of like Pokemon ROM hack challenge that I look forward to.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I hate Pokemon Nuzlocks, and I wish to never do them again.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is a Nuzlocke is a self-imposed challenge. It's having a self-imposed rule where you say, okay, I'm gonna
The thing
do
is,
this challenge.
with me and Nuzlocke, I always get paranoid of losing like my biggest carries.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I understand that. It's something where, if you're not a fan,
Why I
you're not a
gave
fan.
up, which is why I gave up Nuzlocking Blaze Black too.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've Nuzlocked a couple Pokemon games now. It's not my favorite way to play, because it could be, like when I was trying to do the Ultra Fire Red Nuzlocke, or Shiny Lock, I gave up because I spent all that time shiny hunting Litten, and then it got killed. And I was like, well, fuck, like I kind of just didn't want to go on after that, like.
Yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
Even though I could have, tried shiny hunting it again, and all this, I just couldn't muster the enthusiasm at that point. I was just heartbroken. So,
yeah, I get that.
So yeah, it's just but yeah, the point is that there some Pokemon games have this innate value to them where you go, yeah, I would like to play this game again someday. Whether that's playing the remake or whatever, like just they kind of give you that thought in your head, like, yeah, sometime I would like to go back and replay this. Right.
Hunger its own custom mod, yeah. The Hunger Incineroar.
Yeah, the Hunger Roar. But yeah, but anyway, so the that's kind of why I got so bummed when it died. I was like, oh, now I can't, Anyway, but the point is that when when you're talking about like playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, my first thought when I beat Pokemon Legends Arceus was like, wow, that was so much fun. I think I'd like to do that again sometime. My first thought was, dear God, I never want to ever do that again. Like that was so freaking difficult and toxic and annoying. I just didn't want to touch it anymore. I wanted to put that fucking game away and never see it again. And that's I don't like feeling that way about a Pokemon game. I don't. Which is why I was so, like I said, I was on the fence for a long time about whether or not I was going to get ZA, because I was worried that I would have similar issues with ZA that I did with Arceus. And granted, so far, even the most annoying shit that I've seen from ZA has nothing on the absolute cancer that some of those boss battles in Pokemon Legends Arceus now were. So.
Yeah, the rogue mega bosses at least were better than the fucking bosses in the PLA rather.
Some of those rogue megas do stupid bullshit, but it's like I said, even the dumbest of them though are nothing compared to the Pokemon Legends Arceus bosses though. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there are some, personally, the Legends bosses, they're the ZA bosses that decide to go off of the battlefield to where you can't fucking hit them, just as a matter of, oh, I'm gonna fly up here and then start bullet helling the battlefield. Those are fucking stupid and they shouldn't exist. Like,
yeah, that's why I keep saying that Mega Dragonite is like the worst boss fight, because he just goes everywhere.
Yeah, that one was pretty dumb. Like I don't know if it was my least favorite overall, but it was pretty bad.
Not stop making me fight him.
Yeah.
I was just like,
yeah,
what?
like that what Quint said. Legends Arceus bosses were just baby Dark Souls with worse telegraphs, and like I said, I'm not a fan of the Dark Souls games. I played Dark Souls for approximately half an hour, and I was like, nope, and I uninstalled that shit because I got it on Xbox 360 for free because they were doing like the free games with gold thing, and I was like, oh hey, I've heard lots about this game. I'll try it out. And it's like, nope.
Yeah,
Like,
I felt the same way.
you know, like the thing. Here's the thing. I'm not the most coordinated. Like, I'm not the fastest guy when it comes to reacting to shit. And I found a lot of the stuff in Pokemon Legends Arceus was just brutal. Like there were a couple of bosses that had like inescapable moves where they would just like spray the whole area with freaking fire or whatever, and there wasn't really a way to dodge around it. And then that wouldn't necessarily kill you, but if you had already taken a hit, it would kill you, or if you took another hit right after that, it would kill you. So it just made it way more difficult. Like the Arcanine fight, I remember that the stupid Hisuian Arcanine boss, that was dumb. Uh, the 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 genies in that game, all those fights are dumb. Uh, they got better once I figured out that you could use the fucking smoke to kind of sneak up on them. Still shitty fights.
Yeah, Passing the Genies was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, like just like you know like learning Arcanine's attack patterns were annoying. The thing is, what really stands out to me with the Legends games, right, is that they make these bosses with these stupid, as Quint so eloquently put it, cocksucker attack patterns, and then they fucking give you a way to cheese through it, like oh, do you want to uh, save your progress on this boss and pick up at the last, little damage checkpoint, so that you just keep whittling them down, and I had to use that feature a shit ton in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I've only had to use it on one fight in ZA so far.
The Mega
So,
Tatsugiri.
yeah, that was so fucking stupid. I hated it.
Yeah, that feature is basically there if you want the game to hold your hand.
Well, that Mega Tatsugiri is just fucking bullet hell, and I went in with a like it's because the thing is, it likes to sit there and jump off. It does that thing where it jumps off the battlefield and shoots at you, and where you can't really hit it while it's doing it, and then and it just wastes a bunch of time. Like that's the and you're on a time crunch when you're doing that shit. So yeah, I spammed the fucking recovery thing. Oh, thanks, Benny. Appreciate it.
Yep. See you, man.
But yeah, shit pouch chucking gameplay. Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things where, like I said, I played some Dark Souls and I decided it wasn't for me. I'm not trying to shit on that game. I don't think it's necessarily a bad game. I just realized it wasn't a good game for me. With Pokemon Legends Arceus, they have less of an excuse because they're supposed to be a Pokemon game. That is not what I want out of a Pokemon game, like ever. I liked the kind of element of danger when I was out there catching Pokemon and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. But the boss battles really ruined it. You know, random gold armors walking around down here. I haven't seen those. No. I was actually thinking of setting up something like that, like a shrine or something, with a set of gold armor on a stand or something. But just so there's something a little interesting down here occasionally, instead of just a bunch of Cordos that don't go anywhere. But like back here, there's nothing back here. So maybe I could set up some sort of a thing where there's an armor stand with a gold armor on it, and that would be like a thing. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, there are people who really love the Dark Souls gameplay, and some of them get really, really good at those bosses. And props to those people. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to take anything away from them. I think that some of those people who play those games to the end are some of the most amazing and talented gamers on the planet. And the thing is, I like to think that even me with my shitty reflexes, if I put enough time and effort into learning attack patterns like that, I could. It's like
I mean,
with Undying the Undying. If I had sat there for literal fucking hours and just sat there fighting her over and over and over again, learning her stupid bitch attack pattern, I probably could have killed her eventually. But it would have taken forever, and I just wasn't up for that kind of time investment. I was like, you know what?
yeah.
You know,
With the
bitch
with
can
the whole
have the
Dark
win. Like,
yeah, with the whole Dark Souls thing, you could probably talk to Lane about that. She's played through a lot of Elden Ring.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
So,
I remember watching you try to fight her, and then you just like quit after like a couple of attempts and just went nah.
oh man. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I feel like there's a fine line between making something that is challenging that rewards your players with a with a because like I said, a challenging fight is rewarding when the player finally beats it, right? There's a fine line between making a challenging fight for players that feels rewarding when you finally clear it versus just making some trolly bullshit that's designed to kill the players and make them rage. Like, and I feel like some developers don't understand the difference, and that's kind of sad. Comically unapproachable. Yeah, yeah. I felt that way about certain stages in Mega Man games as well. Like, especially some of these newer Mega Man games where you have to like buy power ups and whatnot as you're playing. Because yeah, some of those stages, it's like like I'll start the stage and I'm like, I won't even get halfway through before I lose like all my fucking lives, and I'm like, what the fuck were they thinking here when they designed this stage? Like, I mean, it's supposed to be like a strategy thing with which boss you pick, and instead it's okay. Well, I have to start off with a stage I think I might be able to survive, and then if I get to the boss, maybe I'll be able to beat that boss. So yeah, some of the newer Mega Man games are extremely hard without buying any power ups or whatever. Uh, Mega Man 9 and 10 in particular were both pretty grueling. When you're first starting out, just and I know that some of the Mega Man games, like Mega Man 2, for example, were harder in the Japanese version, and they dumbed them down for American audiences because we're not Asian, or not all of us are Asian. But I'm just kidding.
One of my wait, Quint, you were talking about the Mega Man X6 fan game. Yeah. I think one of my friends was also streaming that to me at one point.
Yeah.
Actually, last night too.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it looked pretty decent.
See, I'm not into being a platforming sadist. I like some casual platforming. I don't like Kaizo Mario bullshit. Like that's the difference. like you know what I'm talking about, right? When you're going through those freaking Kaiser Mario levels with Kaizo Mario levels with the pixel perfect jumps on spikes and shit, and I watch people play that, and I'm like, good God, I could never do that, like.
Have you heard of Cat Mario? That game has some unfair BS in
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, it's one of those things where, because I know that there were some there, because Mega Man 11 I felt was relatively balanced. Like I said, it was very difficult going for me at first. Once I got a few upgrades, it got better, and they let you buy upgrades and earn the money to buy upgrade, or the bolts or whatever to buy upgrades without actually clearing levels. So that to me felt actually really balanced. But Mega Man 9 and 10 were very difficult for me. I don't think I managed to clear even like 2 bosses in any of them. I think I might have cleared 1 or 2, like 1 boss in one of them. But yeah, I just frick, yeah, Bunby catcher. uh, I don't
Oh,
know what
yeah.
that is, but it sounds terrifying. Anyway,
11 was the one you played on stream,
I
right?
did play 11 on stream and I liked it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. 9 and 10 just felt like they were intentionally too difficult, and that was unfortunate because they were supposed to be kind of like I've always said this, right? When it comes to difficulty in games, there's a reason that a lot of games switch to kind of the lowest common denominator. You have games like Pokemon that there's nothing in a main series Pokemon game. There's nothing really hard about it. It can be tedious at times, but it's not super difficult, right? Um, Whereas with some of these games, like I was actually kind of offended by SMT3 and people were like, "Oh, this is where they filter out the noobs." It's like that's a terrible way to design a game. If that game hadn't had difficulty settings where you could set it to an easier difficulty, I would have been pretty upset with that game because it's one of those things where I think you should have difficulty settings that make your game more accessible. It's one of the things that the new Final Fantasy Tactics remake has. The Evil East Chronicles, they have settings where you can set your difficulty so that you're not just in a position where you can't freaking do anything. Uh, you know, because if you quote unquote filter players like they do in some of these games, you end up with nobody left that wants to play your game after a while. Like you end up with only the most hardcore sickos in the gaming community that want to play your game because they know it means super awesome bragging rights if they can clear it. You know, uh, hey, good for you. Uh, you know,
Beat 9 at Buster Only One.
10
Nice.
tried difficulty settings, but easy mode feels just a little patronizing since they put in neon platforms over instant death hazards. That's pretty funny, actually. But like I said, it's one of those things where, you know, I am all for difficulty settings, especially on difficult like platformers and stuff like that. I feel like, you know, like for example, I never managed to beat Mega Man 1. I would get to a certain section in the Wily area, and I would never be able to freaking make the whatever the intended jump path was to get up there, and so I would just get stuck there every fucking time. I'd like beat all of the robot masters and everything, and then when I tried to progress farther than that, I would just get stuck in the Wily area, and I could never go any farther than that. So that was the thing. So like I said, it's one of those things where I understand. I'm a large person. That makes me a little slower. Makes me maybe not the quickest reactor. Uh, Yellow Devil, I think, is a cool and iconic character, but yeah, he is really hard. in certain games that he appears in. He's not he's not always the most difficult boss in Mega Man, but but when he is, he most interesting man in the world meme here. Anyways, just yeah, it's one of those things where it really does depend on the game, because like Yellow Devil in some Mega Man games is pretty easy to dodge. It moves pretty slowly. You can slide underneath it in some of the Mega Man games that it appears in. You can jump at it. You can shoot the pieces in some games. Like it really does depend on which game that you're playing. But yeah, it's but in other games, it flies around so impossibly fast that you're just going to take hits from it. Like it's very difficult to dodge in some of its appearances, and it has that reputation of being very difficult to beat because it is. In a lot of games it appears in, Yellow Devil is the most difficult boss in that game. So, which is saying something, because some of these games also have very difficult boss encounters. But yeah, most of them do. Like most of them have some weapon that they're weak to or something like that. But yeah, like it's depending. Like I said, depending on which game I've encountered it in, because there have been games where I fought Yellow Devil and just easy peasy did the fucking thing. But there are also Mega Man games where I've fought Yellow Devil and just raged like really hard at it, like so. But yeah, like I said, I don't think that they're necessarily impossible or anything like that. Like to where I have to use a cheat device to beat them. But yeah, Yellow Devil is one of the more challenging Mega Man encounters in a lot of the games it appears in. So. Because yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of Mega Man enemies have some cheese strat to them, just because the devs had to play through these bosses too to make sure everything worked. So they kind of had to backdoor in some ways that they could easily destroy these things so they could move on and test the rest of the game, So. Yeah. Yeah, so it's one of those things where I know that the speedrunning community is a really interesting place to get information about what kind of crazy stuff that you can do with because if you want to know the most efficient route through a game, it's often a good idea to watch how speedrunners do it. Just because even if you're not planning on speedrunning that game, it's going to give you pointers on how to do things more efficiently. Now, that doesn't apply to every speedrun. Like for example, if you're watching any percent runs where they can skip a bunch of the game with glitches, and you're not looking to skip the game with glitches, you just want to beat it legit, then that's not going to help. But speedrunners in general are usually a really great source of information about video games. Yeah. Green Devil. Yeah. So yeah. and yeah, a lot of people learned a lot of their Mega Man and Zelda stuff just by fucking around because they didn't really have anybody else to learn it from. The internet wasn't a thing back in the 80s, so you weren't really able to like basically things had to spread via word of mouth. Like somebody would show their friend something cool in a video game, and then that friend would learn how to do it and pass it on to the next person. That's so if you weren't that socially connected, you might miss out on a bunch of things. So like Legend of Zelda, for example, for the first several years that I owned that game, I really couldn't do anything with it, and then I got to play it with some friends that knew what they were freaking doing, uh, and, uh, and I learned a lot of the secrets in the game, and of course now you have the internet, and you can look at videos on it, but you know, Pokemon's pissing you off, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, because like I said, when you see that when you're playing a new Mega Man game and you see Yellow Devil and you've beaten this thing in 11 previous installments of the game in various forms, you're like, oh, I got this, like, and it might have a couple of new things that it does, but for the most part, it's gonna be the same guy, you know. Yeah, and that's the thing is players are going to have a vastly different time playing a game based on kind of how it works for them. Like I remember when I first picked up Mega Man X, I was like hopeless at that game. I was getting my ass kicked, so I like rented it and I couldn't beat anything. Like I couldn't beat any of the bosses, and I think part of it was just like the learning curve, because Mega Man X is really not that hard once you get used to everything. But man, when I first picked it up, it was such a different gameplay experience from regular Mega Man. I had a hell of a time with it. Now, it's one of my favorite Mega Man games. Just I when I play it, I can beat the crap out of it pretty easily, smear it, get all the secrets, get the Hadoken unlocked and all that stuff, it's and it's really fun for me, but yeah, man, those first couple times renting it from the video game rental place and trying to play it before I ended up getting it for Christmas, it was brutal, like
I
just
don't think I don't think I've played a single Mega Man title in my life,
oh
actually.
my god,
If I have, then I don't remember it, and I don't remember what it was.
Jesus,
It might have been one of the earlier ones,
yeah.
like 3 or something.
You watch one streamer that's hard no backseating playing Mega Man series, and there's a shit they could be doing to make life way easier is just never do anything because it's technically possible to do without, so nobody can say so. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, because me, if I'm playing a game and somebody wants to give me advice, to me that's fine. But if somebody's literally just trying to do like Twitch plays, like go up, go down, go left, go over here, now do that, turn around, and they're just trying to control everything I do, I fucking hate that. So no, it's like this isn't freaking YouTube plays,
down,
whatever.
right, BA.
So don't be that guy in the chat telling me how to do my job. But like, if somebody wants to say, "Oh yeah, if you go around this corner, there's a secret power up you don't want to miss," be like, "Oh, thanks for the advice." Like I don't mind just I don't mind just getting some advice. But when you like like when somebody's trying to tell me what to do and just it's like go find Twitch plays, like just. But yeah. Oh yeah, you're gonna pass out. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Cass. We appreciate you vibing with us for a little bit. All right, you have a great one. Happy Valentine's Day. Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's one of those things where some of these Mega Man games have some really, really well concealed shit in them that like Mega Man X is a good example because even after I started getting good at Mega Man X, for the first several times I played that game and beat it, I didn't realize that you could find that arm cannon in the Flame Mammoth stage. I did not know it was there. Uh, yeah, exactly. You don't really find the Hadoken blind. It's not something you're just going to stumble into. Uh, you have to be told how to get that shit. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, the arm cannon upgrade because you get it from Zero when Zero dies if you don't pick it up in the Flame Mammoth stage. So like basically, if you miss any of the armor capsules, Zero's just like, oh, you can use my parts, and then you end up getting upgrades. Getting the upgrades after Zero's death. So it's one of those things where uh, it's one of those things where people who missed any of the armor upgrades in Mega Man X, the first one, you just get them automatically when Zero dies, so that you have them for the final area. But yeah, there were certain things in that game that took me for freaking ever to find. Like for example, there when you get all the heart pieces in Mega Man X, your energy, your HP meter, the meter for your damage or whatever you want to call it, it's actually slightly bigger than the one for your weapon energy. So when I was first playing that game, and I found all the heart tanks and whatnot that got me up to the same amount as my weapon energy, I thought I was done. I was like, oh, I found all the heart tanks. Don't need to look for any more. I didn't realize there was literally one in every fucking stage, and that if you found them all, that that it would go up a little higher than your, uh, you know. So yeah, I just I said it's just one of those things where yeah, I did because it was my first time playing that game. Like I didn't know to even think about there being more heart tanks than what your weapon energy meter was. I thought they would just stay the same size, because it's the same size as because in all the other Mega Man games, your energy meter and the weapon meter are the same size, and the boss's energy meter is the same size. Like that's so. It was just something I didn't even think was possible at the time, and then I ended up finding a heart tank randomly, or seeing somebody find the extra heart tank in a video or something. I can't remember or reading a guide on it or something. So there was something where I found out where that heart tank was, and I was like, holy shit, like. Because I think it was the Storm Eagle one that I was missing. Because Storm Eagle has a heart tank like right at the beginning of the stage that's pretty easy to miss, because basically what it does is it involves you have to go like all the way up this series of little elevator deals, and then you basically just have to jump as high and as far as you can back the other way towards the beginning of the stage. And it was really easy to miss. It's really, really, really easy to miss that one. It is a blind faith jump, yeah. Exactly. Like it's a blind faith jump that curious people might try all the time and scared people might try never. Yeah. So it's just So it's just like to me that was really easy to miss. I never even thought of jumping back that way. I didn't think there would be anything there. So it wasn't until I like I said I either saw it in a guide or jumped that way, or saw somebody else play it and jump that way, and that clued me into it. So yeah, it took me a lot of playing Mega Man X before I finally ever got all the shit in it. But now I do it every time. Yeah, Yeah, the heart tank underneath the Sting Chameleon stage, where it's in a fucking hole. Well, not only that, you can't really even get that one legit without killing Launch Octopus first, because that hole is just a big hole with a giant chasm. Um, if you go down there without killing Launch Octopus, and then once you kill Launch Octopus, the water diverts back into his stage and floods it, and so you do it under, you could do the jump underwater, and that gives you the physics you need to actually make it across, because you jump differently in water in that game. So it's just fascinating stuff, the way that all works. Because yeah, without flooding that stage, you're basically just making a blind faith jump that might not even get that heart tank on your screen before you die. So you know, uh, but yeah, it's just crazy though. All the how missable some of those power ups were. And the funny thing about the heart tank is that it's literally right below where the capsule with the armor in it is. So you can so basically there's the path where you just go forward into the cave, uh, and yeah. So because yeah, it's one of those things where if you're playing that game for the first time, then a lot of the time you're just going to try out the different stages just to see what they're like, and then try to beat one later. So if you go into Flame Mammoth stage before Chill Penguin, yeah, it's way more difficult because they got all these little conveyor belts that are pushing you off into the lava and all this crap, and then yeah, if you just go beat Chill Penguin first, the cold gets redirected into his stage, and and all the lava hardens, so you just run across it, and so all those conveyor belts and shit just are useless. A lot of them you can just dash under them, and it doesn't matter that they're there. Um, but some of them you still need to jump on in the first place because you get better power ups and whatnot by or you can't progress in the stage without climbing on certain ones. So, but yeah, it's still funny. That how much it's funny how much easier some of these stages get after and I really love the way that they did that too with if you beat this stage, then it actually has a catastrophic effect on this other Robot Master stage. Um, defeating Storm Eagle causes Storm Eagle's massive airship to crash into Spark Mandrill's stage and disable a lot of the power going to it. So you wind up with blackouts throughout large portions of the stage instead of there being like electricity everywhere. Um, or beating Launch Octopus, flooding Sting Chameleon stage, and having water in all these different spots. Or beating Chill Penguin, diverting his coolings into Flame Mammoth stage and making it not suck there anymore. So, uh, so yeah, a bunch of little, cool little details like that. Um, you know, then of course, Mega Man X. Yeah, yeah, no, I totally get what you mean, totally. But like Mega Man X, that had, I think that was the first game where Mega Man could walk on water. Uh, there's like a whole mechanic in there where if you jump before he breaks the surface tension of the water past a certain point, you could jump out of the water and then just keep jumping on top of the water. Uh, and I always whenever I used to pull that trick off or see somebody else do it, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, Mega Man, where'd you learn to do that? Because you're basically just jumping across the friggin' water. Because I think you could do that in the Launch Octopus stage at one point. But yeah, because that's a new mechanic that you didn't have in the regular Mega Man games at all. So just like I said, just tons of little things to figure out in Mega Man X, and that's why it's a lot of people's favorite. But like um, I know because like Mega Man X2 also was very deep as far as like the different shit you could do, right? Because in addition to the Robot Masters, yeah, wall kicking and clinging, yeah, that was new. So yeah, like Mega Man X is much more of a Metroidvania title than as far as like having stuff that you can like track down and find and stuff than the original Mega Man games were. Um, it had a lot of those kind of Metroidvania-esque, elements included into it. So it was kind of like making the jump from Metroid to Super Metroid. There's a lot was similar, but there was also a lot of really cool new shit that you could do. You know, so you know, uh, but yeah, you know, still love my Mega Man X games to death. They're awesome. Uh, but yeah, Mega Man X2 had a lot of really cool stuff that you could do with involving the because they had the whole thing with the Robot Masters, but they also had the X Hunters, and then you had to beat them to get the parts of Zero's body. And if you didn't beat them by a certain point in the story, after you defeated a certain number of Robot Masters, then they would revive Zero and use them against you with whatever parts they had left. And if you did revive Zero before that, then they would make like an evil clone of Zero, like so. Um, yeah. There a lot of players bellyache about stuff like that because it involves a lot of backtracking. But I personally think that in some of those Mega Man X games, the backtracking just made it more special. But yeah, yeah, because the thing is, there is in Mega Man X there is a route that requires very little backtracking. Like and you don't really have to backtrack if you want to get like some of the premium, like all the power ups and all the stuff. But anyway, yeah, yeah, it's one of those things where I personally love that too. When you can walk into a stage and you can feel like, yeah, I can clear this. Uh, and it's one of those things where yeah, I can understand if the stage gets easier if you do certain things first or whatever, but that whole idea of this stage is basically unclearable until you've got this power up or this item or this weapon from this robot master. I hate that. It's like just because a lot of people like to be able to do these challenge runs where they beat the stages in whatever order they want, and they want to play it with Buster only and stuff like that. Um, you know, so these stages that make you feel like you have to have these upgrades to get through them, they kind of suck. So anyway, yeah, yeah, I totally get that, and like I said, I say they play like Metroidvanias, that not completely, but like there are some aspects of those games that definitely became more Metroidvania like in those games, and like I said, a lot of the people that like the Mega Man franchise like it because you basically can challenge it in any order you want. Um, and it is tough to balance that too, because as they saw in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, when you try to make it to where you can challenge things in any order you want, there's going to be people that do unexpected things, and then if you didn't make the game with that in mind, then that's going to kind of suck. So
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, it is a tough balancing act, and I really wish that Scarlet and Violet had more development time to cook. I think it could have been a really great. I think it could have been a really great game if they had spent more time in development. But
it wasn't left in the oven long enough.
Yeah.
As they would say.
Exactly. So, but yeah. Anyway,
Maybe
I think we're gonna go ahead and.
Maybe they'll cook more with champions. We'll see.
Well, champions, I feel like is going to be almost impossible to screw up. I'm just hoping that the next, the Gen 10 pair, I hope that one ends up being cooked to perfection, because they definitely seem to have shifted slightly to give it more time.
I want champions to have like a free for all setting to where 4 players can just duke it out with each other.
Maybe that'll happen. We'll see what happens, I suppose.
I really hope so. And hope they don't fuck it up as bad as the one in Gen 7.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because the whole stopping when one player dies thing, that was the most annoying shit.
Really stupid, and I hated everything about it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. I want to thank everybody so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. Want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. And, of course, as always, I do hope everybody has a great day. We'll be back to do this again next week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Night, fellas.
The show is over. Thanks for watching until the end. If you happen to enjoy the content, please leave a like, my friend. I play games and sometimes do other stuff. If you're interested, you can subscribe. Free cookies are available for everyone. Like the zebras take them all. The zebras take them all. It's basically all me from here. Seriously, you've been warned. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna get copyright claim for Rickroll. Are you still here? That's actually based. The meme is old. This is starting to get awkward now. Maybe go watch one of my other videos after this. It'll be great. If you're new to the channel, there's hours of content to watch. If you've been here a while, be super nostalgic. It's a win-win situation. Do these even count as lyrics? I guess anything does if you sing it.
What does that have to do with anything?
No. He's got a point.